back, guys. Another video, another funny angle. I'm on my way back home. I was just out in Newcastle, and I was just sorting out my van. Like, as you know, my van, the motor's gone, so I was just getting rid of it, sorting that out. Something I just wanted to, a thought that came to my mind today. I've been thinking about the past couple of days. I don't know what triggered it. I think it was First Man, maybe, or Hamza. I was watching one of their videos. They spoke about this briefly, and it really hit me, and it makes sense. Whatever you're doing in your life now, as a man, whatever you're doing, you're basically competing with every other guy on this planet, especially the guys that are your age. Within a couple years older, a couple years younger, we're competing with everyone our age, roughly, a couple years older, a couple years younger. But really, we're competing with every guy. Okay, now when you want to do something, when you want to start something, maybe it's a business, maybe it's an investment, maybe it's something self-improvement related, whatever it is you want to do, if it's hard to do, chances are not many people are doing it. If it's really hard to do, I'm talking extremely difficult, your competition, no one's doing it. If it's something easy, everyone's doing it. It's hard to compete, it's hard to get ahead. But if it's something that is genuinely hard to do, is complicated, or requires a lot of effort or a lot of research or whatever it is, obviously that relates to what you're trying to do. But the harder it is, basically, the less people you're competing with. And that applies to everything. For example, when it came to me buying this property, for example, my first property, I couldn't even, especially right now, this whole thing with the high interest rates and the housing market in Sydney, I think everywhere in the world, housing market is fried right now. And I couldn't get a loan from a bank to buy a $130,000 property. I couldn't get a loan from the bank. Even using my parents' house as security, I couldn't get a loan for $100,000 from a bank. I had to go through a private lender. Now, again, that's my first property. I've never bought any other property. It's still my first property. I still haven't even finished it. It's still in the works. I'm still waiting for settlement, whatever. But all these things, they take time. Anything to do with property, it takes time. It's hard to get started. The first property is always the hardest. Now, I can look at it in two ways. I can look at it in the one way that, it's too hard to do, I'm lazy, don't worry about it. It's not my thing. It's not for me. I can look at it that way. Or I can look at it in the way that, yes, it's really hard to get into, which is good because it means I'm competing with less people. Now, people that are in their early 20s, I'm 24, I'm, almost mid-20s. Let's say mid-20s, I'm in my mid-20s. Guys that, let's say, our generation, guys my age now, they would have just finished uni. They just got into a job, on a salary, 70, 60, 80K max, 80K a year on a salary. After tax, that's $60,000. They make $1,100 a week, $1,200 a week after tax. Chances are, they got a nice car and finance, and they got all these bills to pay. They're not saving up money. Forget it, bro. They worked so hard at uni, they studied so hard, and they hustled and they grinded, and now they're working a full-time job, fresh out of uni, low income, high, paying heaps of tax, and then what? You think they're gonna go buy a property? It's almost impossible on that salary. What does that mean? I'm not saying, it's bad that they went to uni. If that's what they enjoy, that's what they enjoy, and it is what it is. But people my age, especially right now, it's hard to get a property, and I experienced that firsthand. Just to get $100,000, I couldn't get $100,000 from a bank. I had to go through a private lender with a high, the interest rate on that is 8% or 9%. The point, this applies to everything. If you're trying to start a business that, it's very, it's hard to start. Let's say you want to start a business like a clothesline, a clothing line. Anyone can do it. Literally, all you need is a photo of what you want to do, and you just search up custom shirts, and anyone can do it. It's that simple. Obviously, I'm not talking about, you know, the better quality, more, you know, premium products. I'm talking about bottom line, entry level, you know, like clothes. Too easy to get into. Market is saturated. There's not much money to be made. But then you start getting into things that are really difficult to get into, you know, something that requires a lot of experience or a skill set or a lot of tools, machinery, something special like that. It's going to be harder to get into. What does that mean? You can look at it in two ways. You can look at it in, oh, it's too much work, I'm not going to get into it. You can look at it as, oh, wow, there's not much competition. Because it's so hard to get into, I'm not competing. There's still going to be competition at any level, but it's not going to be as hard as something that's entry level that anyone can do. Like, think of it this way. A CEO, why does a CEO make $1 million a year, but a laborer or a Macca's worker at 16, you know, how much do they make? Like, what, 30 grand a year full time? You know, 18 bucks an hour. Like, why does a CEO make $1 million? Like McDonald's. The CEO of McDonald's, I don't know how much money he makes, and I'm driving, I can't check. But he makes, I guarantee he makes at least $1 million. Let's say, for the simplicity's sake, he makes $1 million a year. Alright, divide that by 300, that's how many days of work there is per year, apart from Sundays. If you were to put him on a wage, he makes $3,000 a day. Minimum. Like, obviously, I know the number is like more like 5 or something, but let's say for simplicity's sake, he's worth 3 grand a day, which is about 400 to 500 an hour. Alright. But a Macca's worker, like, he's just an employee at the same company, makes 15 bucks an hour. If you got the CEO to do the job of the young kid, the 16-year-old, he's not going to make... If the CEO goes and works at Macca's and flips burgers, he's not going to make 500 bucks an hour. He's going to make 15 bucks an hour. You know? It's not about him. It's about the job. It's easy to get into. You know? But you put that 16-year-old kid, he's not going to know how to be the CEO of Macca's. I can't do. No one. Who's going to do that? Who's the CEO? It's not easy. That's why he gets paid so much money.